One of President Trump's largest projects has been fixing the economy. In an effort to do so, he is putting tariffs in place on foreign goods coming in here to the U.S. According to a New York Post report, many businesses, both American and Chinese, are trying to find ways to steer around these imposed tariffs. To talk more about this, we have Margaret Kidd, Associate Professor of Supply Chain and Logistics from U of H. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
So let's break this down here for a minute, specifically, and I know we're talking U.S., Chinese companies in general. How are these companies trying to get around these tariffs?
Well, there are a few ways, but it's really quite complex. The fact is we've lobbied tariffs on every country we trade with. So while you could look at sourcing and procuring and manufacturing in a country that has a lower tariff rate, there's a lot of uncertainty in the marketplace. So one strategy that large companies do is they lobby for an exemption. And as we'll see later today, I believe President Trump will be in Detroit. And that would be an illustration of the automotive lobby working with the administration. Another strategy is looking at reclassifying the items you're importing and re-engineering them. An example is like a tennis shoe, and I think it's a Converse All-Star, and there's a piece of Velcro, so they can label it as a slipper versus a tennis shoe, which would have a lower tariff. You know, for small and mid-sized businesses, this is a really complex situation that we're navigating, and they're really going to bear the brunt of this because they don't have the resources to have front-loaded inventory like all of the big box stores were doing.
Yeah, I know some of these companies, right, they are negotiating with each other as far as maybe a Chinese company and a U.S. company to see who can share the costs together to make it cheaper. Is that right? Some of these companies are doing this?
Sometimes with larger companies, you have some purchasing power, right? Yeah. Some room for negotiation. But if you're a smaller, mid-sized company here in the U.S., you don't have that same leverage. Yeah. And when you're not bringing in materials for your product and for your store, let's say you're a small retail boutique, you don't have sales, so eventually you have to close down. Maybe first you're going to lay off a few people. So the next 60 days will really give us more clarity where this is going. We also need to keep in mind that for holidays, goods start coming in July, August, and September. So there could be shortages. The big box stores are warning of that now.
How will this impact ports, especially here in the Houston area, Texas as a whole?
Well, let me answer that a little different way. Let's talk about the West Coast, because the majority of imports from Asia are coming into California. So if you look at the Port of LA and you look at their optimizer, which shows the number of vessels coming in each week, this week it's down about 30%, and next week it's down about 9%. So that trickles down. So your truck drivers that come to pick up the containers, those are called drayage drivers, will need 30% less this week. And maybe we need less warehouse workers eventually. So it'll trickle through the system. Yeah. And again, my estimate is we need about 60 days to see where this is going, because all this front loading, those inventories are going to be depleted by then.
All right, we'll see what happens, because every week it seems like we're talking about something new when it comes to tariffs. So we'll see how this develops. Thank you so much, Margaret Kidd from U of H. We appreciate you.
Thank you.